Good evening, Team Life Remodeled, and welcome to our 10-year anniversary celebration. Tonight, we're going to look back on some of the most memorable moments in our organization's history. We'll have the opportunity to celebrate accomplishments, milestones, and impact we never even dreamed was possible when we first launched Life Remodeled in 2010. Obviously, we didn't expect to celebrate 10 years with you over the internet rather than in person, but one of our core values is always find a way. And we are really excited about the dynamic 1-hour experience we've created for all of us to enjoy together tonight. Tonight, we're going to have the opportunity to share some of our most powerful stories and hear directly from several people whose lives have been impacted by our mission. We're honored that Gabrielle Union and Isaiah Thomas have some encouraging words to share with us, and you're definitely going to want to make sure you stick around for the full 1 hour for a variety of reasons. Toward the end of the event, we're going to experience the Detroit Youth Choir performing a very special song that powerfully represents our vision for the future. Seriously, you do not want to miss this. In fact, I highly recommend you share this live stream right now with your friends on social media, because this entire event is going to be quite a moving experience. Right after the Detroit Youth Choir, I'm going to share some big news about what's next and how our next decade of dreams at Life Remodeled will far exceed the radical impact we've been able to make together in our first 10 years. I'm excited to read your comments and reactions in real time and interact with you online throughout this 1-hour event, so feel free to chime in as often as you feel led. Okay, I'm about to turn the mic over to Dr. Tony Evans, and then we'll be guided by several MCs as we transition from one exciting segment to the next. Many of you are familiar with the ministry of Dr. Tony Evans as a speaker, author, and one of the most influential pastors in America. As most of you already know, Life Remodeled is not a religious organization, and we embrace and work together with all people from all walks of life. But for me personally, most of you know my mission in life is to spend every day becoming a little bit more like Jesus than I was the day before. And for those of you who know me well, you know my life needs a lot of remodeling. So Dr. Tony Evans is someone who has impacted me personally, especially regarding his passion for equitable opportunities for people of color, and I'm grateful he's taken the time to pray with us tonight. So with that said, I'm turning it over to Dr. Evans now.
Let's pray. Dear Father, I want to come on behalf of Life Remodeled. I thank you for 10 years of blessing, for the service that they render, for the lives that they touch, and for the impact that they have and will continue to make. Knowing that we live in a world of broken people with broken lives, it's exciting to know that your hand is on an organization that wants to see that which is shattered be brought to life again, that which has been dismantled to be restored. And you are the great restorer. Lord, I ask that you will continue to have your hand of favor so that this organization will know that it is not only doing a good thing, it is doing a good work. A work where you are involved with it, where heaven has kissed it, sanctioned it, and is supporting it. Meet its needs. May it get all the support of volunteers, of resources needed, so that it can continue doing the work you have crafted, created, and are using it to accomplish. So Lord, continue to use Life Remodeled to reshape all the lives that they come in contact with and all the lives who need to be restored. We give you the glory and the honor for 10 great years. May this just be the down payment for many, many, many more years to come, where they are blessed and you are glorified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hi, I'm Brandy Haggins, Director of the Durfee Innovation Society, more commonly known as the DIS. Thank you, Dr. Evans, for your moving prayer. And yes, may our first 10 years be the down payment for so much more to come. Chris will be the first to tell you, and I fully agree. The creation of the DIS has been the most impactful and sustainable program that Life Remodeled has ever undertaken. We filled this building with over 35 fantastic organizations that are servicing more than 14,000 children, youth, and adults with job opportunities, human services, and educational services every year. We've got the largest Detroit at Work location in the entire city, and they, along with tenants like AV Technical Institute, EITI, EDSI, and Will Work LLC, are helping us to provide 4,000 Detroiters with quality jobs annually. Youth programs like Metro Detroit Youth Clubs, Beyond Basics, and Cleary University are servicing kids throughout the city with services essential to their academic success. And finally, organizations like Methodist Children's Home Society, Bethany Christian Services, Metro EHS, and Gilda's Club are servicing thousands of children and families throughout the city with services like therapy, support groups, a foster grandparent program, as well as providing diapers and formula to those families who need a little extra help. This building is bursting at the seams with opportunities for all Detroit children, youth, adults, and seniors. Next, we'll have the opportunity to hear from Ben, a ninth grade student who participates in some of our after-school programs right here at the DIS.
What's up, Ben?
Hey, Miss Bernice.
How you doing today?
I'm all right.
You're involved in some DIS programs here. Tell me a little bit about the programs that you're involved in.
I'm involved in Lawn Academy and I forgot what the other one is called. It's like an online learning safe place.
Oh,
center.
safe space for online learning.
It's better for me to get out the house because in the room I just be going crazy.
Okay, and you like coming to the DIS for the program? Does it help you
I
stay
don't- yes,
focused
okay.
more? Or?
Yeah, I stay focused more.
That's good. That's good. And do you think it has impacted your grades at all, being involved in the program?
Yes, because at first I would just do it like, oh, get the 3.0, but then when I did the programs, I just went the further distance.
Okay, and what are your grades looking like now?
For quarter 2, I'm at all A's, and then last quarter I was at 3.8 because my teacher didn't put.
So you smart. You need to be teaching me something.
Yeah, I'll teach you.
Why do you think like the Durfee Innovation Society is an important space for students? Like what benefits do you see?
I see like communities coming together as one and meeting new people, making friends, being social.
What is your favorite part of the DIS? Anything in particular?
I would have to say the community.
The community?
It's not a community that pushes away. It like pulls you in, grabs you and holds you, and helps you when you need help in anything. That's what I would say. And it brings the social out of me, basically.
Good. And I don't know if you heard through the grapevine, but we now have an arcade at the DIS. It's like a Dave and Buster's arcade, like the motorcycle game, the car game, pinball, air hockey, all type of game, Pac-Man. Yep. So when you come back to the DIS, come get whooped up in the locker room. Huh?
By you?
Dang.
By you?
Yeah.
No.
Dang.
No.
All right. Well, let me know when you're back in town and back in the State Center for Online Learning here at the DIS, and I'll come hang out and come grab you for a second so I can beat you in a couple of these games in the arcade.
You mean lose?
Hi, I'm Jeff Schlussel, board member from the Jewish Fund and son of a proud Durfee alum from the class of 1954. The Jewish Fund is a philanthropic and charitable foundation established by the Detroit Jewish community from the sale of Sinai Hospital. By awarding grants, the Jewish Fund is focused on improving the health and human condition of individuals, both in the Jewish and the broader Detroit community. It is also dedicated to preserving the bond that exists between the Jewish community and the city of Detroit. I'm proud to announce on behalf of the entire Jewish Fund Board that we have recently granted Life Remodel $100,000 to renovate the old pool, showers, and locker room into a youth after-school programming and event space. Very soon, volunteers from Temple Israel and other organizations will be tutoring students weekly here at DIS. Life Remodeled also added 4 commercial washers and dryers to allow Detroit students the opportunity to wash their clothes free of charge. Why? Because lack of access to laundry services is the #1 reason for high DPS CD truancy rates. Also, Image One donated a high-end printer copy machine, and they will continue to provide the necessary toner for the machine so that students and DIS tenants can print and make copies free of charge. Finally, Life Remodeled transformed this old locker room into a totally free arcade for youth who are actively participating in DIS after-school programming. You can't have an arcade without games, so Sony jumped in and donated PlayStations, VR sets, and TVs. This arcade will serve as an incentive to help Life Remodeled recruit and retain new students in after-school programming here at DIS. My father, who walked these very halls, has said that Durfee played an integral role in shaping him into the person who he is, a highly respected lawyer and a civic and communal leader both in the Jewish and larger communities. I'm certain all Durfee alums, including my father, are thrilled that this great building will continue to reverberate with students learning and furthering their educational and personal needs. And we at the Jewish Fund are so grateful for the opportunity to support Life Remodeled's impressive impact strategies.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Union, and I am honored to be joining you to celebrate Life Remodeled's 10-year anniversary. I was a judge on season 14 of America's Got Talent when the Detroit Youth Choir blew us away with their talent and their tenacity, and I, along with the rest of the judges and frankly the rest of the country, fell in love with this group of kids from Detroit who gave one of the most brilliant performances I have ever seen. I mean, the story of the DYC is not only heartwarming and encouraging because of their immense talent, but also because of all those who have rallied around them in order to ensure their success. Their director, Mr. White, all the parents, teachers, and all the other volunteers who have believed in these kids all of these years are also superstars. It's clear that Life Remodeled and the work that they do in Detroit is incredible. And many tend to forget about the special place that is Detroit, full of life and art and resilience and knowledge and pride. Life Remodeled is not only shining a light on that immense amount of talent and the promise within the city, but also working tirelessly to provide opportunities to a city that has lacked them for years, mainly because of systemic issues related to race and equity. To those of you supporting the mission of Life Remodeled, thank you. Thank you for embodying the same characteristics I see in Mr. White, believing in kids and families in Detroit and spreading hope for bright futures. The work isn't over, and I'm encouraged by the mission and work of Life Remodeled. So keep going, keep fighting. The future of Detroit is riding on you, the kids and so many others throughout the country. They depend on all of us doing this work together. Thank you.
Hello, I'm DeWine Dandridge, Vice President here at Life Remodeled. I want to take a moment and share with you one of the ways that my life has been remodeled by being on staff here. I think that, I saw myself playing a part in helping Life Remodeled identify some of the blind spots early on. Not really knowing how that would be received, self-reflection is often challenging and uncomfortable, and it has been. But the fact that Life Remodeled is being able to receive some really hard challenges from me and still welcome me as a family member, as a team member, has definitely started to change the narrative that I have in my mind and give me something to kind of combat some of the things that I've seen happen in Detroit far too often. Organizations that have influence and some power would just continue to move along and highlight some of the good work that they did and drown out the voices of those that may have been offended in the way that some of that work was done. Seeing the growth in Life Remodeled and then kind of like, some of that coming through fire has definitely encouraged me and made me proud to be a member of this team and the work that we've done. And we still have a lot of growing to do, but there's also a lot of work that remains to be done. So I'm excited about what the future holds. For the last 4 years, I've had the honor of leading Life Remodeled's community engagement, as well as the 6-Day project where we mobilized over 10,000 volunteers. At the beginning of 2020, we also launched a new program called Race Remodel. in order to bring people with different backgrounds, ideologies, and races together and engage in difficult and uncomfortable discussions about race and equity in a brave and honest, respectful way. In a moment, you're going to hear from Chris. That's going to tell you about what's happened over the last 10 years. And I'm excited to hear it. And thank y'all again for joining us.
I was pastoring a church that my wife and I and a group of friends had launched in 2007. The church was called Ecclesia, which means church in the original language of the New Testament. In March of 2010, I got this crazy idea, which I believe was from God, and the idea was similar to the then popular reality TV show, Extreme Makeover Home Edition. But this idea was much more holistic. However, we only had about $8,000 in the bank, less than 200 church members, and none of us held any influential positions of leadership in society. I remember the day I first shared with our team of pastors this vision to build a house in 6 days and give it to a low-income family for free, but also to set the family up with a free financial advisor, free counseling to help process family dynamics, and we could also beautify the surrounding neighborhood. Oh, and just one more thing. I wanted to produce a reality TV show pilot in hopes that it would become the next big show and we'd never have to raise money again because the show would pay for everything. We've got some good news to tell you. You have been selected for Life Remodeled. Not only are you going to get a brand new house, but this is about a lot more than building houses. This is about remodeling lives. When I first met Jonelle and her 4 amazing daughters, they were living in a small 2-bedroom apartment where their living room coffee table doubled as their kitchen table. In 2011, we built her family a brand new house in 6 days, and 9 years later, Jonelle and her daughters are doing fantastic. Her property looks even better today than the day we finished the project. She built a garage, bought the vacant lot next door, added a picket fence, and even a swimming pool. But more importantly, her daughters have blossomed into incredible young women.
I'm Jonelle Strong, mother of Kayla, Kylie, Katie, and Courtney. Kayla just got her master's in social work. She works as a support coordinator now. Kylie just finished up mortuary science school. She's doing an internship at a local funeral home. Katie is also going to college to study to be a correctional psychologist. And the baby, Courtney, she just graduated high school and is now going to college to do medical coding and billing.
Crazy as it sounds, we ended up producing a 45-minute reality TV show pilot in only 40 days, and we aired it at Imagine Theater with over 700 supporters. We even negotiated a contract with a well-known production company out in Los Angeles, but before they signed the contract, their company took a significant hit financially, and they ended up scrapping the show altogether. Then the wildest thing happened. I started getting all these phone calls from churches that said they wanted to do what we did in their communities. So in 2012, we partnered with over 20 churches to build 4 brand new houses in 4 suburban cities, Pontiac, Redford, Hazel Park, and Farmington Hills, each in 6 days, and we beautified the surrounding neighborhoods. In 2013, we shifted gears and moved into the city of Detroit, where we believed our organization would have even more impact. We organized the same style project, but this time we mobilized 5,000 volunteers to beautify the surrounding community. During our 2013 6-day project, one of the neighbors living near the house that we were building was brave enough to tell me he thought we could do better. He said that us giving a family a brand new house for free didn't really help the community that much. I ended up taking his words to heart, and I remember going to our next board meeting and I suggested to our board that we consider stopping building brand new houses and instead we start renovating high schools in Detroit. We made a cold call to the Detroit Public Schools. Within 2 weeks, I was sitting in the office of the emergency manager, chief of staff, and chief operating officer. I said, hey guys, we want to renovate a school, repair 21 homes, and mobilize 10,000 volunteers to beautify the surrounding blocks, but I can't promise we're going to be able to pull any of it off. At that time, the school district was about $500 million in debt, so they looked at me and said, go for it. But just so you know, we're not going to give you any money. So they sent us to Cody High School in 2014, and in less than 1 year, we completed everything we hoped to do and more. which came to a total of $5.5 million in investment. When we met with the Cody students and principals, they gave us a wish list of projects that was several pages long. So we asked them to narrow it down to the top 10 projects, prioritizing what they believed was most important. We made sure they understood we didn't know for certain if we could do anything on that list, but that we would pray and try as hard as we could. At the very top of their list was a new football field, because the football team had played every single game away, including homecoming, for the last 6 years. They explained what this field would do not only for the players, but how it could bring together the student body and the surrounding community. Now, they didn't want just any old field. They wanted a $1.2 million synthetic football field, and we wanted to give it to them. Before 2014, I didn't even know what a foundation was. Then we met the Skillman Foundation, and a few months later, they ended up writing us a $200,000 check for the field. I'd never held a check that big. Our team was celebrating on cloud 9. And then I realized, wait a second, that's only 17% of the $1.2 million we need. We got a lot of work to do. So here we were, walking in faith and telling everybody we knew about the project. Barton Mallow agreed to take on the project management pro bono, making a $200,000 donation. And even the Detroit Lions gave us their game day goalposts that were at Ford Field. But we got to this point where we had to decide if we were going to sign the contract that would guarantee we would pay all invoices to complete the field, and at this point we were still over $300,000 short. So we brought the principals together one last time, and we explained to them if we canceled the football field, the other projects that we could do if we shifted the money. By that time, we'd almost finished building the new library, home ec room, STEM lab, and medical simulation lab. But they were convinced the football field was the most impactful project we could do, so our board and I signed on the dotted line right away. Fast forward to our 6-day project where more than 10,000 volunteers came out to remove blight and repair owner-occupied homes. The football field work had already started, but we were still over $300,000 in debt as an organization. Back then, we used to throw a massive celebration on the 7th day. We used to say we worked on 6 days and rested on the 7th. Yes, we stole that idea from my favorite book. But we don't do that party anymore because we are way too exhausted by that point. So back to the 7th day party in 2014. It's 45 minutes before I'm supposed to meet our new mayor for the first time and give a speech on stage about the great things that had just happened during our 6-day project. And all of a sudden this family shows up and asks me if I can give them a tour of Cody High School. Now, truth be told, I did not want to because I had to prepare to get on stage for this speech. But the first word out of my mouth was absolutely, and here's why. Earlier that week on Thursday, their son, Rob Walrich Jr., had called me on the phone and he said, "Hey Chris, this is Rob. My mom and dad heard you speak at Oak Point Church and they want to donate $30,000 to help you with that football field." Now, I'd never met Rob before, but I said, "Hey bro, that is amazing. Now you know we need $300,000, right?" And I laughed and I said, "I'm just kidding, kind of." And Rob said back to me, is like, "Hey dude, that's not gonna happen, but they are gonna donate $30,000. So here we are touring the school with Rob and his family. And Bob Sr. stops me halfway through the tour and he asks, "Do you still need that $300,000 for the football field?" Now at this point, I was so tired, I didn't even realize what he was implying. So I said, "Yes sir, we're still $300,000 in debt." Bob looked over at his wife, then he looked at me. He said, "Is it true that you said whoever donates that $300,000 to the field gets to name it?" By this time I realized this guy's about to write the biggest check I've ever seen and he's gonna name it Walrich Field. So I said, "Yes sir, you can name that field today." Bob looked over at his wife and nodded. She nodded back. She reached into her purse, pulled out the checkbook. He wrote a $300,000 check and he said, "We want to name it Hope Field." At that point, I just lost it. Here's the backstory on Bob. He used to own 18 construction companies and sold them all. He and his family are very philanthropic, but to this day, this is the largest single charitable contribution they've ever made. And they had absolutely no intention of writing that check before they walked into Cody High School. But they told me while they were touring, they heard God say to them, "Give that $300,000. Unbelievable. That experience completely changed my outlook on fundraising. Before that moment, I hated it because I felt like a used car salesman. But from that point on, I began to realize that I don't need to beg anybody for money. I need to trust that wherever God guides, God provides, and all I need to do is make genuine relationships with people, find out their values, and if their values align with our values, then I can share with them how we can help expand the impact of our shared values together. And by the way, right after we finished the field, the football team made it to the city championship at Ford Field. 6 years later, Cody Rouge has grown leaps and bounds, and we could not be more proud of this incredible community.
It was truly a pleasure partnering with Life Remodeled in the Cody Rouge community. Together, we were able to accomplish many wonderful things for our residents and our young people in this community. It was able to bring families together who once were either from the community or currently live in the community to be able to attend a game. We, for years, unfortunately had to host games at other fields because we did not have a football field. Through the investments that we received on behalf of Life Remodeled, it was able to attract additional investors to also look at Cody Rouge as a place to be and a place to invest in. We were able to get a state-of-the-art Kaboom project, and that particular project has not only a playground, but it also has obstacle course in which we're able to bring young people together to do leadership projects right here on this great field. Also, we now have wonderful basketball courts here, so the young men and young ladies are able to play basketball in the summer months. Because of this particular project, we also was able to attract the city of Detroit to consider our neighborhood as one of the strategic framework neighborhoods. And we're currently at the final stages of that particular plan, in which we're looking to do greater things within our neighborhoods to make sure that Cody Rouge will continue to be a model for the city of Detroit.
In 2015, we moved to the east side to renovate Osborne High School. When it rained outside, it literally poured on the students. There were trash cans filled with brown moldy water, so we re-roofed 70% of the school. We also renovated the cafeteria, library, main office, and college room, and we put down a brand new gym floor. Get this, right after we finished the gym floor, the boys basketball team made it to the Elite Eight in the state of Michigan for the first time in decades. This particular year, my good friend Walter Marshall and his buddies decided to produce their second documentary about Life Remodeled. By the way, they won 5 Emmy Awards for both films. So if you've seen the movie Life in Osborne on our website, you'll recall that the star of the film is Ms. Pandora Ingram. But I think it's safe to say we had a little bit of a rocky start. Who's next? All right, I'll cover the last part.
Excuse me, can I have some say? I'm a parent of this area.
Yeah.
My son Martonio Ingram was murdered in the street. No one cares. I see all y'all faces sitting around here with all these plans. Plans. When y'all gonna get down to action?
Miss Ingram, I want to thank you for sharing. Could I ask you to come sit by me? I would love to get to know you.
I'm Miss Ingram and you are?
Ingram, I'm Chris.
Hi Chris, I'm Pandora.
And I would actually like to see can we pray for you?
I'm tired of this mess and I'm not gonna keep coming to these bogus meetings. Everybody getting killed. They killed my son, nobody cared. You know who cared and angry? Me. Myself. And I came to this meeting because y'all not gonna help for real. Get a beat it.
Would you like to join us and stick around?
Yes, I would. That's why I'm here.
Excellent.
But I'm tired of this mess. They want you to go to the Matrix.
Sure.
What the Matrix do? Oh, putting the money in their pocket.
Well,
what Osborne do?
I would actually like to say I'm very proud of the Matrix Center and the Osborne Neighborhood Alliance,
well,
but
I'm gonna tell you something.
I want to get to know your story more.
But they're gonna have to prove it to me.
Can we pray for you?
Can't talk my ears
right now?
off.
Would that be okay?
Let's have a prayer. I love a prayer.
I want to make sure I'm saying your name right. Ms. Ingram?
Pandora.
Pandora?
Pandora.
Okay. Let's join in prayer right now for Pandora and her daughter, Taylin. Thailand. Father, thank you for Pandora and Thailand. And it is truly an honor that they are here with us today. We know you love them, and we know that you have been mourning with them with the loss of Thailand's brother, the loss of Pandora's son.
I ain't gonna talk about my cousin that got brand down on the street nobody care about.
And many more things, God, that we don't even know about, but you do. And may we be attentive to all that you're saying to us through her, and may you show us how to respond together in the most effective way for long-term impact in her life, in the lives of her family, her friends, her neighbors, and those she will call friends, Lord, in the future. And we pray blessings on her, God, peace upon her, and love in Jesus' name. Amen. Can I give you a hug? Is that all right?
I don't know.
A side hug right here. How about that? How about that? Pandora's home, and more importantly, her life, were significantly remodeled in 2015. Over the last 5 years, we've been fortunate to stay in close touch, and I'm so grateful to see how well Miss Ingram is doing today.
I met Chris Lambert, Life Remodel, maybe 5 years ago, and it was one of the saddest times in my life. Totally gave up on people. Me and Chris and the whole crew of so many people, they just brought life back into my life, and I appreciate it. Things have gotten a lot better. I mean, a lot better. First of all, the pain is gone. Still think about certain things, but the pain is gone. This is my grandparents' home, and I moved over here 7, 8 years ago to bring the house back. I came back to the city. I hadn't lived in the city in a long time. And when I came back and just seen the destruction that had happened, and I rolled past my grandmother's house, and there was squatters in here. So I put all of them out. And I came back here, and I've been just pulling the house back together. It's been a lot of work. After the project, Chris still reached out to me for years and years and years. And even if it's just a hello.
In 2016, we moved over to the adjacent neighborhood of Denby High School. This time, the principals wanted us to do something totally different. Denby graduates had recently completed a senior project where they designed a beautiful $1.4 million park that they wanted built right next to their school. So we hired Denby High School graduate Hakeem Weatherspoon, and together we built Hakeem's dream.
Today is today to watch Detroit neighborhoods rise from the ashes.
The blueprints for this park were inspired by Hakeem Weatherspoon. The Michigan State Spartan was a Denby High School senior when he first proposed the idea.
Actually see this unfold, it's overwhelming, and I'm just so lost for words.
In 2017, the Detroit Public Schools made us an offer we couldn't refuse when they invited us to acquire and repurpose a gorgeous, soon-to-be vacant school building. Community members met with Life Remodeled to share hopes and ideas for ways that we could repurpose the former Durfee Elementary Middle School into a space that created opportunities for jobs, educational enrichment, and human services. However, they didn't know the property was about to become ours for 50 years, let alone for $1 a year, because the negotiation process wasn't made public. Right after the deal was inked, the initial response from a significant number of community members was highly oppositional because many felt that it was unfair how we'd acquired the property. Now here we are in the year 2020. We're 4 years into the project, and we've earned more trust in the Durfee Central community than any community we've ever partnered with. And we've formed incredibly dynamic relationships. Nearly all of our strongest critics have become the most important leaders who helped shape the Durfee Innovation Society. We've filled this entire building with over 35 phenomenal organizations who are working together to provide educational assistance to more than 5,000 Detroit youth and children annually. They ensure 5,000 Detroiters gain opportunities to acquire sustainable living wages through new employment, and they provide essential human services to more than 4,000 children, youth, and adults every year. All in all, this was just a small glimpse of what Life Remodel has learned and accomplished in our first 10 years. From the year 2014 to 2020, when we stopped building houses and started renovating schools and their surrounding community, we invested more than $35 million, mostly in kind, and mobilized nearly 70,000 volunteers to renovate 4 schools, beautify 1,660 blocks, board up 2,062 houses, and repair 188 homes. Lastly, I want to give a giant thank you to all the students, community leaders, volunteers, and donors who've taken our mission this far in only 10 years. As amazing as it was, together, over the next 10 years, we can do even more than we can imagine to bridge people across divides to help transform each other's lives.
Hi, I'm Chuck Minkowski. As COO of Barton Mallow, I'm honored to serve as a Life Remodeled board member. Barton Mallow and I have partnered with Life Remodeled since 2012, and hearing these stories brought back a lot of great memories. At Barton Mallow, our core purpose is to build people, projects, and communities. In addition to serving impressive organizations like Life Remodeled, we also build the places that Detroiters learn, heal, work, and play. A project of ours that many of you will recognize is Little Caesars Arena, home of Detroit basketball. Now, most of you know the arena was first designed just for hockey, But when the Pistons announced that they would be moving back to downtown, I can't tell you how excited our team was to make changes to the building and still work to open it on time. Now, I've been to a few Pistons games, and I can tell you there's nothing like watching your hometown team win a championship. It seems like yesterday I was watching some bad boys play to win back-to-back championships, and I hope to see the Pistons bring a championship home again at Little Caesars Arena. In the meantime, I will relish the memories of watching Detroit's original bad boy and our next speaker, Mr. Isaiah Thomas.
Hello, I'm Isaiah Thomas, and I'm excited to commend Life Remodeled on their 10-year anniversary. The inspiring work this organization does for Detroiters is greatly needed. When I was captain of the Detroit Pistons, our team was a reflection of the city we called home. We were tough, we worked hard, we were resilient, we had drive and determination, and we believed in our abilities. We knew we were worthy of championships, even though so many others didn't. The same can be said for this city and its people. Detroiters are all so tough and resilient. We all have drive and determination, and more importantly, we have grit. We're currently experiencing a historical moment for social justice in our country. And cities across the country are really coming together, inspired to create change. Life Remodeled has been doing this work for years by providing opportunity through their project at the Durfee Innovation Society. Their work is a model for addressing systemic injustice, increasing equity, and sharing power. And the blight and beautification efforts increase the pride Detroiters have always had in their neighborhoods. They put the needs of the community first. And even after 10 years of tireless work, their potential to continue making more significant impact is not only exponential, but it's also exceptional. Now, when a pro sports team wins, everyone wins. The city, the state, the region. When Life Remodel wins, guess what? The city, the state, Detroit, the region, everyone wins. So congratulations to Life Remodeled. And I'm honored to be on your team. And keep up the good work. And thank you again.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Jones, and I am a lifelong resident of Hope Village. I am a board member of the Life Remodel Community Advisory Council, and most recently, I am the Community Engagement Specialist for Detroit at Work, the principal tenant here in the Durfee Innovation Society. And I'm also joined with my smoking hot wife.
Okay.
Tell them your name, sweetie.
Dorita.
And we are just happy to be a part of this community and be affiliated with Life Remodel, a wonderful organization that's done so much for this community. And just imagine being able to live in this community, work in this community, and provide services to my neighbors in our own community. It's a beautiful thing.
Hello, my name is Sharnice Marshall, and I am the Director of Youth and Family Engagement here at Life Remodel. I am so passionate about the youth of Detroit, and in my role, I'm able to encourage and empower our youth to be the absolute best they can be. By providing a safe space at the DIS with new opportunities, lit experiences, and phenomenal resources, we are able to build relationships stronger than ever. Our youth will be the reason we are able to ensure strong, happy, and resilient communities for the future. Look around. Any guesses of what this space in the Durfee Innovation Society used to be? It used to be the pool. At the beginning of this renovation project, we worked to find an organization who could get the pool up and running because it holds so many memories for many Durfee alumni, including the president of our Life Remodel Community Advisory Council, Gina Peoples. She actually remembers being a child learning how to swim in this very pool. However, it would have cost us more than $250,000 a year to operate, and no organization was able to afford the expense. So with the help of our friends at Barton Mallow and Superior Materials, we filled this baby in with more than 50 trucks of concrete. And now it's our student-centered space at the DIS. We'll soon fill this room with students who are eager to dive into tutoring, mentoring, robotics, music, art, and so much more. With the help of our Life Remodel Youth Alliance, we've got some cool lighting and much more decor coming in. This amazing space has been named The Dive. In addition to being used for a variety of after-school programming, The Dive is also the weekly practice location for the Detroit Youth Choir, and I can't wait for you to hear and see what DYC has in store for us next. So without any further ado, the Detroit Youth Choir.
When we think of the iconic words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 1963 speech in front of the Lincoln Memorial, we of course remember the words, "I have a dream." And just after that unforgettable phrase, Dr. King used two more words that were equally powerful and just as important: one day. Dr. King knew it would take time and effort before his dream was realized. After 10 years of serving in the Metro Detroit community, Life Remodeled is grateful to play a small part in that legacy of progress. But of course, we know our work is far from finished. Here to help share our vision for the next 10 years is the Detroit Youth Choir performing their interpretation of Bob Marley's One Day, inspired by the unique approach of American Orthodox Jewish reggae rapper Modest Yahoo.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day,
One day.
one day, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood-drenched pavement, keep on moving through the water, stay raging.
And in this maze, you can lose your way, your way.
It might drive you crazy, but don't let it break you. No way, no way. Sometimes in my tears I drown. Oh, I drown. It won't get me down. It surrounds, it surrounds. Because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day,
One day.
one day. Hey, this all will change. Treat people the same. Stop with the violence. Down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom like one day. One day. One day. One day. One day.
One day.
When we allow freedom to reign, We let it ring from every state and every city. We will be able to speak up that day when all God's children, black and white, and everyone in between will indeed be free at last. So, is today that one day when you're the one we can count on?
Wow, thank you, DYC. That was incredible. I believe that one day, the zip codes where Life Remodeled invests will become communities of endless opportunities for children, youth, and families, and communities of thriving unity among the city and the suburbs. And I believe one day starts today. Every new day is a new opportunity to bridge people across divides to help transform each other's lives. Right now, tonight, we not only celebrate the tremendous good that we've been able to do together, including our own life transformation that's taken place in the process, but we can also make decisions tonight that will forever shape the future of opportunities for children, youth, and families in Detroit and across our region. We are all in this together. We all need our lives remodeled so that we can become a Metro Detroit where people can say that we don't want to fight no more. No more walls, no more division. Every child matters just as much as my child. In fact, the truth is, we're all children. We're all brothers and sisters. We all need one another because we're in this thing called life together. So thank you, Life Remodeled family, for the time, talents, and treasures you've already given. And I thank God for blessing our collective sacrifices. Imagine with me, if you will, what do we want the year 2030 to look like when it comes to equitable opportunity for Detroit kids and families? What do we want our region to look like when it comes to love, unity, and collaboration? Whatever it is that we want to see, we all know it's going to take a whole lot more than money to make it happen. But we also know all of our contributions are essential. And I know that whatever financial commitment you decide to make tonight can help shape our collective future. So what's next for Life Remodeled? Well, we know that we've already created a successful opportunity hub here at the Durfee Innovation Society, but we're thinking a little bit bigger for our next investment. We've got an idea that gives me the same kind of excitement I had during our inaugural year, and I'm sure some people will again tell us that we're crazy for trying to pull off something so huge and non-traditional, just like they did during our first project. But I want you to hear me out. What if we created an opportunity village? We've been researching multiple options, and right now our top prospect is the former Cooley High School building, which became vacant in the year 2010. Cooley is 321,000 square feet and sits on nearly 18 acres on the west side of Detroit. With more than 1,800 kindergarten through 8th grade students within 5 blocks, Cooley is a prime location to help shape future opportunities for children and families. The Cooley building and property are more than twice the size of the Durfee Innovation Society, which means this project has the potential to double the impact we're making here in the Durfee Central community. We're hoping to solidify plans to purchase Cooley within the next few months, but regardless of where we invest next, your support tonight will help ensure that our next 10 years are even more impactful than the last. As we all saw from our 10-year history video, one thing that's not new to Life Remodeled is taking on something new. We've proven that together we can overcome any challenge that we're called to. We know how to persevere, how to push through. We all know how crazy 2020's been, and seriously, it threw our organization quite a few curveballs. But I'm really proud of the big changes we made quickly so that we could serve the Durfee Central community even more effectively now than ever before. But as we bring this evening to a close, I invite you to imagine with me one more time what we could accomplish together in the next decade. What do you want your next 10 years partnering with Life Remodeled financially to look like? How much impact do you want to make personally? Maybe tonight you feel led to donate or pledge the largest one-time gift you've ever made. If that's you, thank you. Maybe you feel led to become a monthly donor. If that's you, thank you. Maybe you've never donated a Life Remodel before, and tonight will be your first gift or your first pledge. Thank you too. Our financial goal tonight is to raise at least $175,000, and thanks to a $60,000 contribution from BASF, we are well on our way. In the chat section, we've listed several ways to give. You can either make a pledge or donate via credit card right now on our website, or you can mail a check to the address below. I want to give a special thank you to Carhartt, who has been a strong supporter of our mission in multiple ways. Because it's our 10-year anniversary, they have gifted us 200 super cool winter jackets for our 200 most impactful donors and volunteers. This is the female version right here. I think it's really cool. Most importantly, my wife loves it. And this is the men's version over here, which I totally dig. I'm gonna rock this thing frequently. These jackets, they're about to be co-branded with our new logo. Oh yeah, by the way, we're about to have a totally new logo thanks to College for Creative Studies and Seeds Marketing and Design. So stay tuned for a reveal of our new logo within the next 2 weeks. If you're willing to make a donation or a pledge of at least $1,000 tonight, we want to send you one of these jackets before the end of the year. Lastly, we're about to purchase 500 Life Remodeled face masks, and for some reason, I found it really, really hard to find masks that actually fit and breathe well. And the one we're buying is really awesome. So if you're willing to donate or pledge at least $100 tonight, we'd like to gift you a Life Remodeled mask with our new logo before the end of the year. So as we bring this evening to a close, we know that in many ways, tonight is just the beginning of far greater things to come. Thank you all again for being you and for being part of our important mission to bridge people across divides to help transform each other's lives. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and God bless you.